Are you ready for another podcast?
Are we doing the British thing again?
Yes. I am. I'm a Brit. I'm from Scotland's Yard, like I said the other day.
All right, well, cool.
All right.
We'll see how long you can do that before you slip into like a German accent or a Russian accent.
I'm going to do a slowly merging Tuesday.
There it went.
We'll do. All right.
Welcome to PolyPsych.org.
Almost there. Just one more time.
Welcome to PolyPsych.org.
All right. So you got a guy that is the Darknet King. Tell me about this dude.
Yeah, apparently his name is Gal Valerius. Sounds like a freaking Game of Thrones character. AKA Oxy Monster.
Which is in itself an oxymoron, because oxys are delicious, from what I hear.
Delicious.
No, they're terrible. So you know that's how people get hooked on heroin. Is they start with a
Oxy,
with
painkiller.
Oxycontin or
Is Oxy is painkiller, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they'll give it to you if you have back problems.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So people will go to their doctor. Say people with just legitimate issues. They'll go to their doctor and say, "Hey, like I'm having chronic back pain. Like maybe I sprained my back at work. It's not really been the same. I have a slipped disc," and the doctor will prescribe 300 tabs of Oxycontin or some like
that's
really
unnecessary
heroin based like beast. And they'll give it to the guy and they will finish out the 300 and they still want more. Like obviously you're already addicted by then. So the next step up for when your body develops a tolerance for it is to go to a stronger thing. And once you start at oxys, it's like, what's next? Morphine or you want to go full heroin? And then when the doctor says, listen, man, the surgery was 6 months ago, a year ago, you should be okay now. I'm going to have to cut you off. Like, where do I go now? I'm going to go to Baltimore.
I think that's where the conspiracies for like big pharma and all that, like that's how these are rooted and born. It just sucks. Granted, there's real pain happening and the doctors do need to do something, but 300 Oxycontin or whatever, even if it's not that many, like that's not, you go overkill. I mean, anytime I've ever had an injury, I get prescribed like 10 hydrocodone, not even oxy, and that's it. And I usually don't even use them all. But
yeah, that's how you could tell like you're not in a drug household, is that you have Oxycontin from 3 years ago.
It's expired. Like it looks like this expired now.
It expired. Let's throw that away. But yeah, that's you're 100% right. So big pharma, nobody bats an eye the fact that like pharmacies or big pharma, pharmacological corporations, I guess is what you would call them.
The private ones.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. So they will advertise a medication just on a commercial and say, ask your doctor about insert medication. And so you'll go to your doctor like, listen, I have headaches. Can I try X? And the doctor will prescribe it to you. That is like fully illegal in other countries. Like really? Pharmacies, pharmacological corporations cannot advertise on like commercials. It's not a thing.
That's nuts because it's so commonplace here.
100%. Can't turn a football game on without a Viagra commercial.
There's a really cute movie coming out. Well, it looks like it's going to be cute based off the trailer with Reese Witherspoon. I cannot off the top of my head remember the name of it, but like the commercial is really cute because it's got one of her kids, little kids, is talking about how she's like everyday joys seem mundane, and you know the day is just not as good for her. And she basically quoted one of the like depression commercials. She's like, where do you get this stuff? And the bigger sister is like, she heard it off of a not Zofran, but the
Zoloft.
She got it off the Zoloft commercial. Like, it's so commonplace that even the little kids are quoting the freaking pill commercial.
That's hilarious. And they'll start off in the trailer, I guess is what you'd call a commercial. Their trailer for Zoloft or any of these mood enhancement pills is it'll start off as in black and white and everything is so dreary, and then I tried Zoloft. Now she's running through a field of wheat with her hand.
Always wheat. I'm sure allergic to wheat.
You know, you're having
that sounds
a good
like
day.
a nightmare.
You're running through a field of wheat. That's a good time. So back to your guy Valerius, aka the Oxy Monster.
He so his specialty was obviously Oxy and I want to say Xanax, I believe. Anyway, he dabbled in some other things, but he was making quite a bit of money. Kept bouncing around, and he stayed obviously under the radar. Bitcoin was the currency, and it went to many different accounts. It was just spiderwebbed out there. I mean, it seemed like he was doing a relatively good job of covering his tracks and things like that, except after he got arrested, the investigation was revealed that they were able to track DEA and I guess cyber crimes were able to they like tracked patterns of his social media, like the words that he would use that were that they knew were associated to Oxy Monster, and then they would use programs to find similarities in other social media accounts, like words like cheers. They said was one of their cues and indicators, and when the person would like insert cheers.
So there's I really like the idea of using big data and using computer programs to sift through and parse out human intuitive like words and phrases out of the data. We actually had a project that we did at the University of North Carolina, Charlotte, where we were parsing Twitter, like tweets. We were parsing tweets about the presidential election, and we were trying to essentially teach a machine how to understand human emotion. So they were saying if one of the tweets was angry and it expressed anger towards Donald Trump, like we had to parse out this is anger and then the object is Donald Trump. Yeah, so we were teaching it very slowly, and it was like anger, sadness, is this disgust? It was a lot of disgust. Anxious, so we were parsing these things out and then making this like database of like, hey, this is what each one of these tweets mean, to essentially have a machine learn it via machine learning. So with the idea being that maybe we'll have a machine one day that can go through like tweets, and maybe it'll be able to forecast like protests that are going to happen, or like it's really cool.
That sounds like that's what was what they were working on with this person, like in particular, and it's bonkers because I'm sure this guy wasn't being that careful. I mean, clearly he wasn't being that careful in that, you know, nowadays, if you want to be a criminal, you have to make sure that you don't speak the same, which is basically impossible based off of what we know from human linguistics and behavior. Like we build our own language, basically. That's unique to us. We have certain catchphrases, mannerisms, and things like that are ours. They're our favorite. I use bonkers a lot. You use cheers. Ooh.
Yeah, cheers. I'm not the Oxy Monster. At least I don't think so. All right, so this guy was using the darknet to sell his illicit substances, and so there's been studies on the darknet itself. In fact, there was one titled "Network Theory: How the Darknet Defends Itself," and it was by the International Journal of Weekly Science. And they said, and I quote, "The darknet, the global network that hosts anonymous and often illicit online activity, is more resistant to attack than the internet thanks to its decentralized structure." All right. So I didn't know what the heck that meant. I didn't understand a decentralized structure. So if you think of the internet, like imagine like one big machine sitting in the middle of the room and then a bunch of wires going all around your house to different machines. So when your computer in your room wants to communicate with the TV in the living room, it routes it all the way through this centralized computer, and then it shoots it over to your TV. So it's like a highway system where everything's connected through this middle passage.
Got it.
For lack of a better phrase.
I got you.
Middle passage. Yeah. Just puts the data packets on a boat and then just sends it over to the new world. That was distasteful. So the darknet is decentralized. So any one computer could be that storehouse or that center where you can send out the information or whatever. And it's there's this really cool picture. If you Google darknet, it'll pull up like the actual internet, the internet that we use every day, the one where it's not weird stuff on it. It's like 10% of the internet, and it's like an iceberg, and they show like 10% of the iceberg above water, and then the darknet is all the stuff underneath it. As a matter of fact, the internet itself, like there's so much of it that's like not really trackable. We don't really know what the heck is going on down there. It's because it's just it's so anonymous. And then with the introduction of virtual currencies like Bitcoin, it makes it that much harder because it's a currency that's stored on a specific computer as like a its own vault, so anybody can tap into it, and it's like they have a waffle. It's a lot to it, but
it sounds super intricate.
Yeah, so it's very difficult to track you, and so it's like using a virtual privacy network, but to the extreme. You know how you download Google Chrome?
Yeah.
And you're able to go to Google.com and YouTube and whatever.
Okay.
You download Onion, and you're able to go into the darknet. You know, and then like
so it's like the doorway kind of thing.
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
God, I wouldn't know where to begin.
No, and you shouldn't. So some of the things that are on there
I heard it gets really dark.
Yes, you're 100% correct. And the thing that most people think when they think the darknet, if they know about it at all, is that this is where you go to hire contract killers, and this is where you go if you want to buy and sell drugs.
Child pornography was another big thing that I heard about.
A huge one, and and that still is very much the case. A lot of people will abduct a child, and then they'll have them like they'll be filming them. Or whatever,
so human trafficking as well is through the darknet.
Yeah, 100%, because it acts as like an exchange. Imagine Amazon, but untrackable one way or the other, so you can buy and sell in the darknet.
Is there like email in the darknet? How does that work? How does like communicating with other people?
I don't know, but I would be interested in interviewing a terrorist.
In my mind,
that use the darknet.
The darknet and like the regular internet that I know of, I feel like they're like almost the Alice in Wonderland kind of thing, like a through the looking glass situation. Like there are things that are familiar, but none of it is an exact reflection. So much as it is just a new interpretation of what it is. Obscure
thing. It's weird, and the people that use it a lot of times they'll know so much more about how the internet works than we do. That like to speak to them is like trying to speak to a mathematician about an intricate subject in math, and it's like they don't have normal words to express to you this specific concept, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen those? You get it? So you've seen those professors that have like a whole chalkboard full of equations and formulas, and you're like, hey, what's this mean? And they're like, dude, I don't know. I can't.
Yeah, like explaining slope to a 5-year-old.
100%. More like trying to explain slope to your dog. I don't know what you're saying, but I'll take a bone if you have one. Anyway, there was another journal article by the Forensic Science International that said the research they highlighted like what the darknet was used for. So they said a large portion of it was for illicit drugs, buying and selling. A huge part of it was fraud issues, in particular financial fraud. So that was huge, and that's kind of surprising. The sharing of knowledge, like tutorials. How to make a pipe bomb.
Right.
That kind of thing.
Bad knowledge.
And then goods, currencies, precious metals. So imagine if you are, I'm not 100% sure I should give you a tutorial on how to launder money. But if you wanted to essentially buy a large stockpile of gold so you can essentially transfer your money from anywhere in the world, then you would use the darknet to buy and exchange it and keep it completely tax-free. A lot of, we did a interview with a professor on PolyPsych.org, and turns out that a lot of people who send their money overseas, they do it because they don't have faith in the current economic situation in their country. So they'll say, this United States thing looks a little sketchy, so I'm going to transfer my money out of here. That way it's backed by the baht instead of the United States dollar. That kind of thing. Okay. Or I just wanted it in gold because I don't trust any of this fiat money kind of thing. Anyway, so all I have to say is darknet is super scary.
So, fair enough. Darknet and black market, same, or
you can have
darknet
a black market
is like your tool.
You can have a black market in the darknet, but the darknet itself. So it's not all bad. So a lot of times, if a journalist wants to speak to a terrorist, or what the government would say is a terrorist, like if like Julian Assange. So a journalist wants to talk to Julian Assange. If you go on Facebook and try to talk to Julian Assange, you're going to give away his location, and then the FBI is just going to swarm on him. But you can go through the darknet, and you can interview him anywhere in the United States, anywhere in the world, and nobody can really find him. And it'll be a video chat. Easy peasy. One problem with the darknet is when you go through the Onion server, or really anything in the darknet, is so slow. So slow.
Really?
So slow. So slow. Imagine, you remember the dial-up era?
The what?
The dial-up era.
Oh, yeah. Is it like that
Yeah.
speed?
Yeah, from what I understand.
I don't know
Yeah.
how anyone got anything done on the internet back then. I don't have time for this. I'm out of here. I remember coming home and signing on to AOL, and like after you sign on, you go make yourself a sandwich, stir up some chocolate milk, maybe start your homework, depending on how bad it really was, and then you get online.
Mm-hmm.
And once you get online, you click on something like, I don't know, your AOL mail or something, and then you wait another 5 minutes for that to come up.
The show is over. We would like for you to do one thing for us. Tell 2 friends to download the PolyPsych podcast. Shoot them an email, a text, a raven, anything. Just tell 2 friends to download the PolyPsych podcast. 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 Tell 2 friends to download the PolyPsych podcast.
How many friends?
No, like 4 or 5.
I'm gonna tell them all. Thanks, everyone.